Hi everyone, welcome back to my podcast Ask Moon Teacher, where I answer your formal questions in an informal way. So today in this episode, which is a part of a series which will deal with USMLE exam and all the details about it, I have three wonderful guests here. So here I have today with me three amazing people, all in different parts of their journey preparing for USMLE. Some of them have just started, some of them are in the middle, and one of them has already finished. And I'm so happy that all of them have agreed to participate in this podcast to help the people who are thinking, considering, willing, or probably are interested in pursuing USMLE as their post-graduation of choice. So let me introduce you one after another. Dr. Gargi, I'm sure all of you are already familiar. She has done a wonderful job talking about COVID-19 and SARS-CoV-2 in my YouTube channel, which is a very nice video. And if you are practicing in India, a resident or an intern, I suggest you watch it considering the circumstances of the scenario these days. On the other hand, I have Dr. Ridhim. She is from Nagpur and she has written her step 1. Finally, there is Dr. Lakshmi, who has completed all her steps and has recently matched, and I think she got married a few months ago as well. So which is a very wonderful news for her, both things happening in the same spectrum of time. So welcome all of you to this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So first I want the audience to understand who is speaking. So the first person who's going to speak now is Gargi. So please familiarize yourself with her voice. Hi Gargi, how are you?
Hi, sir. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So that was Gargi. So the second person I'm speaking to is Dr. Ridhim. Hi Ridhim.
Hi, sir.
How are you?
I'm great, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was Ridhim, everyone. And now let's speak to Dr. Lakshmi. Dr. Lakshmi, hi.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Congratulations on matching to your dream branch, internal medicine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alright, so everyone, those are the voices that you should be familiar with. And let's just stop wasting time and dive into the session. The first thing that we are going to talk about is the timeline regarding the whole process of USMLE. When should you consider taking the step 1, step 2, the electives, and by what time should you be ready for the application? So let's just start with Dr. Lakshmi with this, because she has completed the whole process and she has matched. So she can give us a broad idea of what she has done. But the most important thing that I want you to understand about her is that she considered starting the journey of USMLE after getting into internship, which is different from most of the people who considered doing the USMLE pathway. Alright, Dr. Lakshmi, can you tell me what are the ideal timelines that students should follow generally who consider doing USMLE?
So thank you for the question. So I was, if I think about it, the best case scenario to be thinking about USMLE is from the beginning. When you get into medical school, if you know that's what you want, that's the best case scenario. Right from the first day of medical school, you can work towards building a really good CV that will help you with your residency interviews and, all of the process. And having said that, it's never too late because, in this whole journey through my blog and all the other things, I've met people who started almost 10 years after graduation. So it's never too late. But if you ask me the ideal, I would say, from the first year. And I think if you start preparing with that USMLE frame of mind right from first year and study some of the USMLE related stuff along with your coursework, it'll take you a long way. And in my opinion, the best time to take the step 1 exam would be in third year, because I feel it's a more relaxed time when you have a lot of downtime. So instead of wasting time like most of us did, you can just do something constructive and have your score ready in time for it.
Okay, so Dr. Lakshmi, you're suggesting that a student who gets into the medical school should have an orientation towards USMLE from day 1 of medical school, if that is what they want to pursue.
I mean, not necessarily, but that's the best case scenario that I can think of.
That's
it's never too late. It's never too late. Exactly.
Now, I would like to take the same question with Dr. Ridhim here. I would want to know, when did you consider taking this up, and do you think you were late or do you think you were early?
I considered it during my third year of medical school. Before that, I was pretty confused and I could not make up my mind. But in my third year, I started preparing for it and gave my step 1 in the final year. I would say that it was not the best of my choices. Like, it worked out well for me, but the best thing would be to, as Lakshmi ma'am said, the best time is to give it during your third year of medical school. So you can make up your mind when you are in your second year, start preparing when you are in your second year, because your concepts, your basic subjects are fresh and strong during that time. That's the the strongest time when you're studying your basic subjects. So yeah, best ideal time is to give it during your third year, initial first half of your third year.
Because you're just fresh out of
Yeah.
your pathology, pharmacology, and
Exactly.
microbiology. Right now, with that line, I would just like to introduce you to Dr. Gargi here. She is the person who took step 2 CK first, rather than going for step 1, and that is why I would want to bring her here in now and ask her why she did that, and what do you think is an ideal time you should start taking the steps.
Well, I agree absolutely with Dr. Lakshmi and Dr. Rhythm. I decided to go for step 2 CK first because I was already in my final year when I decided that I wanted to do USMLE. However, I would not recommend anyone else to take their step 2 CK before their step 1, because there were a lot of overlap questions and a lot of concepts that were asked in step 2 CK, and I feel that I could have done better had I given my step 1 prior to my step 2 CK.
Based on the difficulties you faced while taking the step 2 CK, you would advise anyone to take step 1 first, because there's a lot of questions that come from the step 1 knowledge in your step 2 CK. But still, what time do you want them to take it, in the second year or the third year, or you totally agree with Rhythm and Dr. Lakshmi here?
I absolutely agree with Dr. Lakshmi and Dr. Rhythm. The third year, first half of the semester is good. Yeah.
So it's a general consensus that the ideal time you should consider taking step 1 is third year of your medical school. Now, how long do you think generally it takes for one to prepare for step 1?
I would say 6 months.
Do we have a consensus on that?
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Gargi. Anywhere between 6 months to 9 months is more than enough. And if you go beyond that, your score will just start plateauing, and after that, it's just gonna go down. So don't stretch it more than 6 to 8 months. Yeah.
What about you, Dr. Lakshmi? Do you agree?
I think if you've just been doing the USMLE related coursework throughout medical school, like from first year to second year, you can just do hardcore preparation for 3 months in third year and give it.
Right.
I think that should be good. Yeah.
So it's safe to say minimum of 3 months and maximum of 8 months. And that should
Yes.
be the
It
timeline
varies
you
from
should-
person to person. Yeah.
Right. So if you're good with your basics, you can actually go ahead and give it in 3 months of solid preparation. But if you're not, it takes somewhere around 6 to 8 months. Now, what
Exactly.
about step 2?
Well, step 2 CK would be if you are doing it without step 1, it's going to take longer. So for me, it took 6 months. But I think I would pass on the question to Dr. Lakshmi. If we do it after step 1, then I think that she can have a better answer for this.
Okay. Thank you so much. If you take it right after step 1 and without any gap, I think step 2 CK can be taken in around 4 months. But in my case, I had actually taken a gap of around 6 to 7 months between step 1 and CK due to personal reasons. So I ended up having to take almost 5 to 6 months. And I would really recommend following step 1 closely up with step 2 CK, because since a lot of things are repeated, when they are still fresh in your mind, if you take the exam, it's so much more easier, because things like biostats and some other subjects are pretty much the same and carried forward with CK. So again, it varies from person to person, but I think it's pretty doable in 4 to 7 months.
Right. So I think if you have a sound backdrop of step 1 knowledge, it can act as a foundation for your step 2 questions, and that expedites the process of preparation, and you can actually sail through easily without wasting a lot of time. Like what Gagi said, it took her 6 to 8 months to prepare for step 2, which would have been reduced to half of its time if she were prepared with step 1. So I think the ideal time is, like you said, give your step 1 in 3rd year, and like you said, Dr. Lakshmi, quickly follow it up with step 2 CK, because the knowledge is similar and the questions are being tested in a similar fashion. Now, what about CS? What about step 2 CS?
So step 2 CS, I would say that you should give it 1 month, but I studied just 10 days for it. But I would not recommend it. That's a really stupid thing to do. So I would really recommend that someone who's taking the exam give it at least a month of preparation, and with 10 days of hardcore preparation, where you're just practicing cases all day with somebody else.
I just would like to add one more point. There is a recent change in USMLE policy. Starting from March 1st, 2021, you will have to have taken step 1 prior to applying for your step 2 CS exam. So that's a recent guideline change that has come up.
Right. So if you stick to what Dr. Lakshmi said previously, if you take step 1 and then go to step 2 CK and CS, I think you will be doing that same thing what they want us to do. Right. So essentially it takes a 6 to 8 months preparation for step 1, and then a 3 to 4 months for step 2, and another month for CS, and that would be an ideal timeline for your step 1 and step 2 exam. Now, what about electives? When should we start considering doing the electives? Should we do it after step 1 or after step 2?
I think that the best time to go for your electives is during your internship year. Like, I would recommend that you do at least 1 or 2 months of internship in your home institution and then go out for electives, because that's going to give you a better perspective. And also, most of the electives demand that you graduate within 12 months of the application for your elective. So internship year is the best year.
Dr. Lakshmi, what do you think?
So I have not done electives, but I've seen, how a lot of my friends and other people I met during the journey, manage their timeline. So I think towards the end of internship is the best time to do your electives, especially if you followed the most ideal timeline where you took step 1 in 3rd year and you took step 2 CK at within the first 2-3 months of internship or first half somehow. Then when you apply for electives, having both the scores available will give you a lot of advantage over the others. And it's a really ideal timeline because you can also give your CS exam along with it and just finish off a lot of things in that one trip to the US. And then the next time you have to go is only for interviews. So in my opinion, that's the best time.
I think that's an extremely valid point in terms of both timeline as well as the financial expenses or burden that is taken up by those students. What about Dr. Rhythm? You are yet to start your electives. When have you planned?
I had applied for my electives during my internship period, but due to the given scenario, it got cancelled. It got postponed. So I'll be going whenever the situation settles down. So I agree with both Dr. Gagi and Dr. Lakshmi that during your internship, towards the end of your internship is the ideal time. Also, if you have already taken your step 1 and if you apply to universities which accept step 1 score, then the expenses of doing electives is almost reduced to half in terms of application, because such universities don't require you to submit an application fee. In contrast with those universities which do not require step 1, they usually take around some $2,000 to $3,000. That's like a general number. But universities which do not require step 1 usually give it for free. Like, there's no tuition fee. So that's an added advantage.
So you say that all of you unanimously agree that the ideal time to take up electives is during the end or in the middle of your internship, not before that. Right, so far we have established a very good timeline here. Ideal time to give your step 1, correct me if I'm wrong here, any one of you, is ideal time for taking step 1 is in the 3rd year, for which you need a good 6 to 8 months of preparation. Follow it up with step 2 CK within 4 months, and then try to write CS also if possible. And during that journey to write the CS, plan your electives in such a way that you're there and you do your electives there and you appear for your CS as well.
I just wanted to add one point, is that if for some reason, we all have university exams, and if for some reason you're not able to stick to the ideal timeline, then do not worry. Of course, this is all flexible. We just want to give you an ideal scenario, but if it is not possible for you to set it according to this, then it's absolutely okay.
So I think that brings me to the most commonly asked question that I was getting from students. Is it possible to do USMLE after internship?
So if I may answer this question, I decided about USMLE at the end of my internship. So the last month of my internship, I had a really bad time, and I had seen a lot of things during my internship which kind of made me realize that I wanted to pursue my residency abroad. So that is when I even started thinking about it, because up until then I had done nothing towards USMLE. I had not even thought about it. I'd seen a lot of people preparing for it, but I had not done anything in that direction. So yes, it's absolutely possible. There are people who take it up almost 5 years after their their graduation, and there are people who do residency in other fields and then they decide to go for this. So it's really flexible. It's never too late to chase your dreams.
Do you want to add anything, Dr. Gargi?
Very well said.
Yeah, I completely agree with Dr. Lakshmi.
So I think people who are considering USMLE after internship shouldn't be disheartened, because there is always hope, because there are so many people who have done it, and I'm sure anyone who is considering doing it now can also do it. Now the last question that I would want to ask in timeline is, in terms of research, what is an ideal time for a candidate to start research, or is it really that important for your resume?
If I may answer this question, research is a very important part of your application. It gives you an advantage over other applicants, irrespective of your scores. If you're in your first year and if you have not made up your mind regarding USMLE, I would suggest you to take up the ICMR STS program, apply for it, do your research. Even if you don't get accepted, complete your research, publish it in a good respected international journal, and you will have one research in your bag prior to making your decision. Does not matter, even if you don't decide, even if you decide against USMLE, you will have that experience and it never hurts. Research is a great opportunity for all the medical students, and if you get that exposure during your medical school, it's super awesome.
Yeah, and I've heard that research carries a lot of value in terms of application, and it increases the value of your application, and a lot of people, even if they have poor scores in USMLE, tend to get selected because of a lot of research that they have done, which has been published in valuable journals. Yes, Dr. Gargi.
I would like to add one point. Even if your research does not get published, please go out, attend conferences and present. I have till date attended 4-5 conferences, presented at 4, 1 and 2. And these were international and national level conferences for UG and PG. And having these certificates really adds value to your CV. So I would highly recommend paper presentation, poster presentation, just anything that shows that you are interested in medicine, that you love it, and you are here to stay.
So I just want to add something to the whole research conversation. I feel there are a lot of people, especially old graduates, who want to do this, but they cannot because they are like, oh, I don't have research, and right now I don't have the opportunity to do research. Where I'm at in my life, I don't have the resources or an institution where I can actually conduct research. So if you don't have research, it's still not the end of the world. I mean, because when I applied this year, I did not have any research publications. I just had one research that I did in community medicine. So, and I still got 17 invites. So it's not the end of the world. It will not totally kill your application. But obviously, in retrospect, I wish I had research, because I think it might have cost me the opportunity of matching at my number one program. But still, it's not the end of the world. It's not like if you don't have research, this is not possible.
Right, so every time we talk and we take a question, it comes back to that one point, and I think Dr. Lakshmi constantly keeps bringing it back again and again. She gives us this hope that anything is possible and anybody can get matched.
No, I mean, everybody cannot get matched, because, you know, that's the sad reality or whatever. But there are people who defy the odds of in each of these criteria. So I just want to make that clear, because there are people who actually like deviate from this path simply because, oh, I don't have research, but research is important. I will not get in without research. So I just want to make that clear.
So what basically Dr. Lakshmi wants to say is that if you do not fit in the box, it doesn't mean that you do not belong there.
So another thing I want to add is that it's actually a good thing about this entire process, because there are so many factors that influence your odds of matching. It's not like other entrance exams that we have in India, where one thing is making or breaking your whole thing. So if you did bad on the exams, it's not the end of the world. You can do research, you can, work, and you can do a lot of things, get great letters and make up for it and still make it. And likewise, if you don't have research, if you don't have electives, you can get great scores, do your best with observerships, get great letters, and then still make it. So that's something that I really like about this process, where it's about all around, like the all-rounder application, rather than just about a single score or a single publication or anything like that.
So I think that is the perfect time for us to end the discussion about timeline, because we have clearly understood here that although there are set guidelines and timelines that we should ideally follow, but then even if you detract from them, not even detract, if you move away far from them, there is still hope, there is still chance. Not everyone is going to succeed, not everyone will fail. Alright, so I think with that note, we can end the discussion of timeline and hope to see all of you again in the further discussions of USMLE.